Hello, everyone. So nice to see you. So today we are going to be learning the answers to some of the many questions that you all submitted, sent to the Department of Instruction. And we have quite a few of these, so I'm just going to get right to it. First question. You spoke of concentration and all the things that counteract that concentration does. Does ADHD factor into that same scenario? Is it possible that a person with ADHD, with attention deficit, can use the same technique and eliminate attention deficit? Or if I'm distracted by picking up on the other person's vibrations, if that is the case, should I ignore this possible extra perception? To respond to this question, the Rosicrucian teachings present techniques that help everyone. So most definitely, anyone who wants to improve their ability to concentrate can work on a couple of things. One is to remove distractions, because that is a great cause of breaking our concentration. So, and the other is to prevent overwhelm. And a great way to do this is to find a quiet place to go to, and our sanctums provide this, where we do not experience overwhelm and we do not have distractions. So this helps to develop our ability to concentrate. And there is another very simple exercise that's presented in the early Rosicrucian monographs that helps with concentration. And we'll do that now. So if you would please close your eyes and breathe normally and focus on your breath as it enters and exits your nostrils. Just feel the air going in and out of your nostrils. And if your mind wanders, just gently bring your focus back to the air going in and out of your nostrils. Okay, so that's one very simple technique that helps us to concentrate. Again, the most helpful things are to remove distractions and to prevent ourselves from being overwhelmed, because when we're overwhelmed, our mind shuts down and we're unable to concentrate. And then we have these different techniques, such as this breathing exercise, that we just practice and we develop the ability to concentrate. All right, our next question. What is the Egregore and what is the idea behind its existence? The Egregore is the energy of the Rosicrucian Order. It's the energy of all of our activities, of all the members, past, present, and future. In the 9th temple degree, a monograph gives some specific information about the Egregore. It says, the energy conveyed by the Egregore of our order comes from two complementary sources. The first is made up of the spiritual work accomplished by all the Rosicrucians in the world, whether in our private sanctums or in affiliated bodies. Therefore, whenever a Rosicrucian studies a monograph, conducts a mystical experiment, prays, meditates, participates in the work of the Council of Solace, devotes time to cosmic communion, etc., he or she radiates into space positive thoughts and emotions which benefit all other members. Likewise, those who unite in the affiliated bodies, especially during convocations and temple degree initiations, also set especially positive forces into motion. Then the monograph continues. To this combination of individual and collective influences is added the energy that the Imperator and the Grand Masters constantly generate in the accomplishment of their respective functions. We send this energy to this vibrational plane, frequencies of peace, love, harmony, kindness, and health. And when I send these thoughts, I visualize it as the most resonant, coherent frequency possible. So we feed this field of energy with our thoughts and conduct, and it nourishes, supports, and protects us. All right, our next question. What is the relationship, if any, between cosmic memory, Akasha, with the Egregore? The Egregore contains the vibrations of everything that has ever happened related to the Rosicrucian tradition, what occurred in the ancient mystery schools, all the traditions that contributed to and perpetuated that wisdom over thousands of years, what we're doing right now, and what will occur in the future. So all of this information is part of cosmic memory or the Akashic records. And it's interesting because there is a very interesting article in the Rose Quad Journal. It was the second year that we published the Rose Quad Journal, volume 2 from 2005. And the title is Entanglement, Causality, and the Cohesion of Space-Time. Again, this is the Rose Quad Journal, volume 2 from 2005. The article is by Michael Amaral, MD, FACS. He's a frauder. And it says, entanglement is an extraordinary quantum mechanical property where two particles remain connected to one another, no matter how far apart they may be in the universe. Far from simply being a curiosity, entanglement may exist across time and provide not only cohesion to space-time, but also a primordial scaffold for causal links. This suggests the existence of symmetrical relations between events separated in time and raises the possibility that the future may influence the past. So again, this article is from volume 2, 2005, Entanglement, Causality, and the Cohesion of Space-Time. And it researches if we can send thoughts to the past and influence the past, if we can access other time periods. So it's interesting to think right now, are there Rosicrucians in the future calling us, drawing us? Is your future self calling you to something? The next question is, recently, a very dear friend asked for a list of natural and spiritual laws, emphasizing that the only source she trusts is the Rosicrucians. And we're the only Rosicrucians she knows. We have a few in our mind, but can we have a list, please? So a list of natural and spiritual laws. This would be, in one place, it's the Rosicrucian Ontology. And we're going to put that on the screen. We have the Rosicrucian Ontology, and then we're going to put in the chat how we can, what the link is to access the Rosicrucian Ontology. And ontology is, this is a statement regarding the nature of being. So here is what that document says. The divine is the universal intelligence that thought, manifested, and animated all creation according to unchanging perfect laws. All of creation is permeated by a universal soul that evolves toward the perfection of its own nature. Life is the vehicle for cosmic evolution, such as it manifests in the universe and on Earth. Matter owes its existence to a vibratory energy that is propagated throughout the entire universe and which permeates each atom. Time and space are states of consciousness and do not have any material reality independent from humans. The human being is a double being in his or her nature and triple in his or her manifestation. The soul incarnates in the body of a child at the first inhalation, making the child a living and conscious being. Our destiny is determined by the manner in which we apply our free will and by the karma resulting from this. Death occurs with the last breath and results in the final separation between body and soul. The spiritual evolution of humans is ruled by reincarnation, and its ultimate purpose is to reach perfection. After completing its spiritual evolution, the soul of each human being reintegrates with the universal soul in all purity and lives in the divine eminence in full consciousness. So if you're looking for a list from the Rosicrucians of natural laws, this is probably the best source for that. Again, the Rosicrucian Ontology, and it's available online. The next question, I would like to know more about the Rosicrucian Order healing techniques, and if the Rosicrucian Order healing is more of proactive prevention than reactive healing. We know that prevention is better than cure, but what happens when it's too late for prevention? So in 2019, the second issue of the Rosicrucian Digest was focused on radiant health. And this presents the Rosicrucian healing techniques. We remove what is blocking us being perfectly harmonious and resonant and having coherent vibrations within our being, and then we focus on reestablishing those vibrations. So that's what we can do if we get out of balance. Also, the entire degree of the Sixth Temple degree is focused on Rosicrucian healing. So those monographs present information on the Rosicrucian healing techniques. Okay, the next question. COVID-19 safety measures have forced us to do almost everything online. In your opinion, is the future of the Rosicrucian Order looking at more of an online-based platform experience and less of a temple or lodge experience that involves interacting with other members? Our temple initiations and rituals will always be conferred in person. It's the only way we can confer them. These rituals are made up of the energy of the members who participate and those who have participated before, the vibrations of the temple. You have the vibrations of the sacred space, this alchemical vessel in which the rituals take place. You have the fragrance of the incense, the sounds of the gongs and the chimes and the music. And we have the feeling of walking through the initiation. So our initiations and rituals are intended to be conferred in person. And it's great that we can connect like this too. All right, another question. How do we attune with someone else? How do we attune someone else to or with the cosmic? In other words, let's say a friend is going through some problems. How do I attune this friend with the cosmic? So if your friend is open, you can let her know that you're either a member of a group or you're familiar with a group that sends good thoughts to people. And they found that it's more effective if the person is open to it. And then you can just say to your friend, would you like them to send you good thoughts and energy? But some people won't be open to that. So you just judge based on the person. All right, next question. What is the procedure to attune with the cosmic? First, we remove obstacles. So if we are doing things that prevent us from attuning with the cosmic, the very first thing is to stop doing those. And This includes a pure diet and drinking pure water, nourishing our minds with uplifting reading and watching inspiring films. So if we're not doing that, we need to stop doing whatever would block the flow and then begin doing these things. And we have techniques then to get beyond the analytical mind and the five senses, because that's not where we attune with the cosmic. And some of these techniques are breathing exercises, are rebalancing exercises where we get our the polarities of our energy in balance, the overall exercise where we focus on energy in each cell, and when we focus on the different psychic centers in our being, and these are centers of energy and information. They're vibrational centers in our being. So that is the most effective way to attune with the cosmic, is through the psychic centers. Next question. Recently, epigenetics has become an important topic in the medical field. Does AMORC believe in epigenetics? And if yes, what are the key AMORC experiments which can change human genes? So epigenetics is the study of how our behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way our genes work. Unlike genetic changes, epigenetic changes are reversible and don't change our DNA sequence, but they can change how our body reads our DNA sequence. And just to summarize the way that the Rosicrucian teachings relate to epigenetics is the phrase, energy follows thought. So our thoughts, our behaviors, our environment cause changes that affect the way that our genes work. So the most effective way is to change our thoughts. And we've practiced this before with feeling gratitude in our hearts. When we're happy, glands in our brains produce and release hormones that make us feel good, including hormones that cause the arteries in the heart to swell. So we may feel like our heart is swelling with gratitude. And we can just focus on feeling gratitude through our heart, even if we're not happy at the moment. And this triggers hormones that actually then produce that feeling of happiness again. And we're going to practice with that right now. So experience gratitude in your heart right now. Nothing necessarily happened just now, yet with just a thought, you can be grateful and happy. So experience gratitude in your heart right now. So you are thinking of a time when you experienced something that was pleasant. Gratitude brings that to our minds. We can use the same technique to signal to our genes that we're well, and they respond accordingly. To we're healthy, we're happy, whatever it is, we can use this technique to signal to our genes that this state exists. Now, it's important that we're very careful with what we watch on television or the news that we might follow on the internet. Your body doesn't differentiate between threats occurring in Ukraine or at a mass shooting hundreds or thousands of miles from where you live. It responds to the threat. So it's so important that we're aware of what we let into our minds, because just in the same way that we can call gratitude into our being by focusing on our heart, in the same way, when we focus on violence and chaos, we respond as well. Our being responds to safety and support, allowing it to come back into resonance. So when we focus on those kinds of thoughts, it helps to create that within our being. Next question. My question is, how could I be silent when I have to take a bus to do my food shopping? Explain how and give us tips on the best way to be silent on a daily basis. So observing silence isn't just about not talking. It's about going within and accessing what's within. So if the purpose of you observing silence is to do that, is to go within, then consider purchasing your food the day before your day of silence. Because it's not just about not speaking, it's about taking our attention inward. Next question. I would like to know more about Rosicrucian healing and protection practices. So again, the 6th Temple degree monographs, it's an entire degree dedicated to Rosicrucian healing practices. And that issue of the Rosicrucian Digest focusing on radiant health. Also, when the pandemic began, I presented many Wednesday teleconferences related to radiant health, maintaining balance, keeping ourselves healthy. And all of those are recorded and on YouTube. So you can watch any of those previous videos as well. There's also, oh, wait a second. Okay, next question. Do you have any techniques, books, ideas that will help let go of different types of emotional traumas in the past? In addition to the radiant health issue of the Rosicrucian Digest, which does include exercises for radiant emotional and mental health, there's another exercise from the 3rd Temple degree monographs. And we'll do this quickly. It's a very simple exercise. So close your eyes and think of a situation that you wish had turned out differently. And it's certainly true that every situation presents a lesson. So there was value in whatever this undesired situation was. But we're going to work with our memory and our mind to create something different in our mind. So think of that same situation and relive the situation in a way that you wish it had played out. When you're ready, open your eyes. Some memory experts say that between 80 and 90% of our memory is inaccurate, that we think we remember something exactly like it happened, but possibly up to 90% of what we remember isn't accurate. So it's possible the situation that you were reliving may not have even occurred like you thought it did. And the basis of this exercise is that the situation has already occurred, is that you plant a different memory, you plant a different experience in your memory. Okay, next question. I would like to learn more about Rosicrucian healing. Again, that same Rosicrucian Digest on radiant health. Next question, can you expound on the significance of the mirror in initiation as well as in our private sanctum? The significance of having a mirror in our sanctum is that it refers us to the master within, our only reliable authority. That's the purpose. It's looking ourselves right in the eye, where there's no fooling ourselves. and we can attune with the master within. All right, next question. How can we heal ourselves from stress, fatigue, and mental exhaustion? The vowel sound Ra helps anytime where we need more energy. If we are stressed, the vowel sound Me, which stimulates the solar plexus, which is just above the navel. In fact, if you're really feeling stressed, you can interlace your fingers and place them on your solar plexus, again, just above the navel, and intone the vowel sound Me. It's spelled M-E-H, but it's pronounced like the month of May. Another technique is to lie in the shape of a star. We can also stand, but it's especially effective to lie in the shape of a star. Some years ago, I was at a regional convention, and there's typically a back room where all of the paperwork and break room and everything is, and nobody else sees that. So I went in that back room, and the convention chairperson was lying on the floor in the shape of a star, intoning Ra. It was quite an experience. I thought, oh my gosh, here we go. And so I gave her privacy. She saw that I had walked in. I didn't know I was disturbing her privacy. And I know this soror very well. And when she came out, she said, all good now. So she was just thoroughly exhausted. She had been spending months and weeks preparing for this convention. I see some of you smiling. Those are former convention chairpersons, I can tell. And all of us feel like lying on the floor in the shape of a star after or even during an event like that. So that's a great way to do it. Another simple way that we can improve our mental health and our mystical experiences is by healing the hippocampus in the brain. And this is greatly affected by stress. This small gland in our brain plays an important role in learning, memory, and, as I said, mystical experiences. Stress produces the steroids, adrenaline, and cortisol, which damage the hippocampus. And some of you may be familiar with the work of Alberto Volodo, PhD, and he states that this damage can be repaired in just 6 weeks with omega-3 supplements that contain high levels of DHA. And DHA improves learning and mental clarity. It may also help to prevent or slow Alzheimer's disease, and it relieves many of the symptoms of depression. So you can research this online for the dose that's right for you. It's important to, if you're going to take omega-3, which is typically fish oil, look for a brand that contains both EPA and DHA. And the DHA would be 450 grams or more. And it's recommended to take about 3,000 milligrams of omega-3 daily. But this, of course, is up to you. And if you run things past a healthcare professional, ask them what they think. But you can buy omega-3s at pharmacies and grocery stores. Again, DHA is important. Breast milk contains a really high percentage of DHA. And if you think about that, babies' brains are just learning and growing every single second. So it requires DHA, and that's good for us as adults as well. So again, DHA about 450 milligrams, 450 milligrams or more, and about 3,000 milligrams of omega-3 daily. All right, next question. How are the officers selected to fill the roles in the temple? Typically, someone starts in a very simple role to gain experience. And then, and so if you feel called to serve as an officer, you could let the ritual director know, if you ever need a backup, I'm happy to serve in any place that you need me. Typically, if someone says, I really want to serve as whatever position, that typically disqualifies you, because that's not how it works. So everybody starts, I have served in every single, well, not every single, I haven't, I've never been the matre. And speaking of that, like there are specific roles that sometimes reveal themselves. Like some sorors have motherly energy that makes them perfect to serve as the matre, or some members, they're perfect for the conductor whose energy is to guide and protect. So officers are always asked to serve, and again, your service is greatly appreciated. Next question. I have breast cancer and want to know what I can do to heal this. I refused surgery, chemo, and radiation, and have cut out red meat, sugar, etc. The Rosicrucian monographs recommend that we combine the benefits of more traditional healthcare with good nutrition, as you note, exercise, fresh air, our mystical practices. It's very important that you find a healthcare professional who shares your beliefs and can guide you through your healing. So you want to find a partner, healthcare professional. I have, in San Jose, I have insurance through Kaiser Permanente, a healthcare system. And I also have a homeopathic doctor that I go to when I need advice on beyond the most mainstream prescriptions. So the monographs tell us that the cause of disease, including cancer, is typically a violation of some natural law, or it's hereditary, or we have a psychic imbalance. So a violation of natural law is that we don't exercise, or we smoke, or our diet is terrible, or things like that. So we all know how to take care of ourselves. It's when we do something other than that. Then again, another cause is hereditary. And another one is a psychic imbalance from psychological trauma, or consistent and persistent anxiety or stress, something like that. So to heal, the ideal way to maintain good health is to ensure that the cells in our body maintain an electromagnetic field as dynamic as possible, and that their psychic consciousness vibrates in perfect harmony with cosmic consciousness. So each cell is endowed with psychic consciousness, and we have exercises that help to raise the frequency. All of these centers, all of our cells, it's energy and information. So we raise the vibrations. And we can do this through the celestial sanctum. We can do it in our sanctums, in our homes. And Rosicrucians are encouraged to attune with the highest plane of spirituality that we can connect with at the level of the celestial sanctum, where we can go there to regenerate ourselves on all levels. The 6-degree monographs state the golden rule in matters of health is to harmoniously combine the spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical conditions necessary for one's general well-being. So it's getting that resonance. It's also helpful to keep a journal so we can note ways that we may be blocking the natural flow of vital life force throughout our being, and to remove ourselves from those blockages. Again, the Radiant Health Digest, the 6 Temple Degree monographs, Attuning with the Council of Solace. This is the healing meditation that is presented in the Grand Temple every Monday through Friday at noon. And anyone can attune with that. And we mentally raise our vibrations to the frequency of this high plane of spirituality where it's radiant health and peace profound, and it's that pure level of vibration. And so for our soror who's dealing with breast cancer, I wish you all the best, and please find a healthcare professional who shares your beliefs, because you have every right to your beliefs, and there are other people who have those beliefs who can help you. Okay, next question. What teachings and concepts were changed over time and why? And this member says, for example, the celestial sanctum concept versus the cathedral of the soul. For those of us whose God of our heart is Jesus, does this mean that there is an evolution for our work to be less influenced by the Christian concepts than are the origins of the Rosicrucian Order? So when H. Spencer Lewis created what we now call the celestial sanctum meditation, he called it the cathedral of the soul. And H. Spencer Lewis was a devout Christian. He also was a Buddhist priest. And you can see the Christian influence on some of H. Spencer Lewis's writings. And then his son, who served as the Imperator for 48 years, he was more of a scientist. So I never saw why Cathedral of the Soul, the name was changed to Celestial Sanctum, but I suspect it might have something to do with that. And if you experience the God of your heart as Jesus, that is what is meant for you. So it's each of us, we know who the God of our heart is. So there is no supposed to in the Rosicrucian teachings. We're presented with information and each of us decides what makes sense for us. I don't use the image of Jesus because that's not the image for me, and because we have many members from different religions. So out of respect for them and their beliefs, I don't use imagery or models from a specific religion. In the end, the Rosicrucian teachings refer to a divinity that is a supreme intelligence or consciousness. And Jesus and you are manifestations of that. We're all beings of energy swimming in an ocean of energy, an ocean of consciousness. And the goal of life is to serve as a vehicle for the divine to untiringly contemplate its own reflection. So here's our next question. I have many friends in Ukraine and Europe. I have been praying for peace at many councils of solace. Would love a meditation or prayer that Grandmaster Julie has found effective in troubled times such as these. So in the Council of Solace, we close with an image of seeing a pyramid of light surmounted by a rose cross, and Earth can be inside this pyramid of light, and we see the whole bathed in an aura of ever increasing intensity. So it's sending harmonious vibrations to all beings on Earth. Again, we can attune with a pattern that is the frequency of peace and radiant health. And I've done this before. I most often do the pyramid of light, but I've also done it, including for Ukraine, where I move that pattern of peace profound. I move it over Ukraine on a globe in my mind. I move it over there. And we have so many places that need healing, that if we do the pyramid of light with Earth in the pyramid and the rose cross on top, that helps everybody, those we know and those we don't know. Okay, next question. How many years are necessary to complete the Rosicrucian teachings? It takes about 25 years to study all of the Rosicrucian teachings. And I know many of you are on your second round. So after we complete 25 years, we go back, we reread the first monographs, and we say, who put that in there? That wasn't in there the last time I read that. How could I have missed this? But sure enough, so there's always plenty to learn in the monographs. Another question, can you describe the most relevant and effective manner to study the Rosicrucian teachings at home? My top 3 suggestions are that you have a regular practice. So choose whatever day of the week is best for you. You know, many of us have our sanctum periods on Thursdays, and there's great value in that. But if for some reasons Thursdays don't work, pick a regular time so that everybody in your family, your friends, everybody knows this is my time for my personal work, and it helps you to establish the discipline, and it helps others to understand, okay, that's your private time. Second, I would strongly recommend that where you study the Rosicrucian teachings is private, that you have a private space for this. A corner of a room is fine as long as nobody else is in the room. It doesn't have to be a big elaborate sanctum, but someplace private and separate. So regular, private, and separate, and enter your sanctum with the intention to do important, sacred work, because that's what you're doing. And your intention directs what happens in your sanctum. Another question, under which aspects can the Rosicrucian teachings blossom in our modern lives? So every aspect, personal relationships, family, professional, it's letting your light shine in every situation. Another question, why is Rosicrucian healing made of secret methods that can only be applied in a family circle? So we don't practice our Rosicrucian healing techniques on strangers because they can be misunderstood. And in some cases, they contradict what many people believe are required techniques through more traditional medicine. And we don't need anyone feeling threatened and then targeting us. We just quietly go about our work. All right, next, can you describe the main steps of progress of a Rosicrucian student along the years? So in the Rosicrucian Manifesto, the Fama Fraternitatis, that was released in 1614, it states, the highest knowledge is to know nothing. Typically, that is not much fun because we realize, okay, to know nothing means all this stuff that I built up to protect myself, I'm gonna have to reconsider it. So that is a main step of progress on the Rosicrucian path, is that we open ourselves up to something being true, even if it's not what we've believed up till now. And then everything else, so we unlearn, we realize, we reconsider, we unlearn, we reconsider and unlearn, and then we experience. And the next question is, what kind of impact do the Rosicrucian teachings have on the character of a student along the years? And this is a beautiful gift to every Rosicrucian to be revealed to you. For me, I've noticed that many members whom I respect, they're open to changing what they believe about something. So they're open to learning, they're humble, and they serve the order and other people very discreetly. I'm often so impressed with Rosicrucians who do such powerful work and never say a word about it. And their work touches the lives of people in really important ways. And so that's been my experience. In the Rosicrucian Code of Life, it states, behave in such a way that all those who share your existence or live in contact with you regard you as an example and feel the desire to be like you. Guided by the voice of your conscience, may your ethics be as pure as possible. And may your first preoccupation always be to think well, speak well, and act well. Okay, the next question. Can you explain the context of the foundation of the Rosicrucian Order in ancient Egypt? So Pharaoh Thutmose III directed the mystery schools connected with the Temple of Karnak, and he was the one who decided to bring the mystery schools together as a single order. And you can still visit the place that he created to gather all these mystery schools. The name of when we organize Rosicrucian initiatic journeys, we visit this building. It's called the Akh Menu, AKH, which means the illuminated, radiant, glorious spirit. Akh is one of the 8 aspects of the soul to the ancient Egyptians. Akh means initiated, the mysteries, and Menu means a monument. So this building they met in is the monument dedicated to the illuminated, radiant, glorious spirit. These mysteries were passed on to and through other cultures, becoming more or less accessible depending on who was in control at the time. And as the Romans closed the last of the mystery schools in Egypt, everything went underground. The wisdom of the ancient mystery schools was passed on through what has become known as the Hermetic tradition. And this is named after Hermes Trismegistus. It means Hermes, the 3 times greatest. In ancient Egypt, Thoth was the keeper of the mysteries. And the Greeks merged him with their deity, Hermes. It's the same deity, but the Greeks called Thoth Hermes. And then this tradition was passed through traditions like the Delphic mysteries, the Pythagoreans, the Eleusinian mysteries, the mysteries of Isis, Gnosticism, Neoplatonism, alchemy, to the Rosicrucians of the 1600s. Now, by this time, that ancient Thoth, who was the keeper of the mysteries, had become the Greek Hermes, who became Greek Hermes Trismegistus. And then this became a more human personality known as Christian Rosenkreutz. Thoth and Hermes Trismegistus were transformed into a persona, Christian Rosenkreutz. And in the Fama Fraternitatis, the first Rosicrucian manifesto, he passed on the wisdom of those ancient mystery schools. So the Rosicrucians of today, us, we're the new perpetuators of the ancient mysteries, dedicated to restoring peace and harmony in the world in a philosophy that's based on science and mysticism. Okay, concerning Egyptian history, who was the founder of the order? Again, Thutmose III is the person, the pharaoh, who organized the various mystery schools into one. When was the Rosicrucian Order AMORC founded? In 1909, H. Spencer Lewis, who lived in New York at that time, had a mystical experience where he was directed to seek out the Rosicrucians. And he didn't know how he would do it, but eventually he was led to Toulouse, France, where he was initiated into the Rosicrucian tradition, and he accepted the responsibility to reestablish the Rosicrucian Order in America. And he did that in 1915. So the Rosicrucian Order was established in New York in 1915. It moved to San Jose in 1927. H. Spencer Lewis believed that California was more open to the thoughts of the Rosicrucian teachings, and there was a history of the Rosicrucian tradition in California. There were various reasons that he chose this area. The next question, who were the imperators of the Rosicrucian Order since 1909 in our modern times? So H. Spencer Lewis was the imperator from 1915, when the order was founded, until 1939, when he went through transition. and he established the order. He wrote the monographs. The monographs began as his lectures, and then he trained people to present his discourses in other places. He called them Grand Lodges in other states and in Canada. And then the order just grew so much that the material was shared in monographs. So he expanded the Rosicrucian Order. Then Ralph Lewis succeeded his father, H. Spencer Lewis. He was the Imperator from 1939 until he went through transition in 1987. And Ralph Lewis took a more scientific approach to the monographs. He expanded the order worldwide, and he updated the monographs. Then from 1987, when Ralph Lewis went through transition until 1990, Gary Stewart served as the Imperator of the Rosicrucian Order, and he wasn't prepared for this position and was unanimously removed from office in 1990. And then Christian Bernard served as the Imperator from 1990 until his recent retirement, 2018. Christian Bernard's mystical name is Phoenix. You may have noticed on his books, there's always a phoenix. And he certainly helped the Rosicrucian Order recover from the trauma of the removal of an Imperator. And he's from a Rosicrucian family. He was only 38 years old when he became the Imperator. He updated the monographs. He saw the publication of many important documents, the Positio Fraternitatis, Appelatio Fraternitatis, the new chemical wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz. So the three recent Rosicrucian manifestos that were published 400 years after the first three. And Christian Bernard has written 3 books and many articles. And then Claudio Mazzucco serves as our Imperator since 2018. So he's 2018 till now. And in my experience, he focuses on making the order more personal. He often speaks of a fraternal handshake and a hug, and he's like that in person. He deeply values our fraternity. In his most recent annual letter, he began it with, "I hope this letter reaches you in serenity and health. I would like to suggest that you read it when you are able to find a moment of solitude, while in your sanctum, under the faint light of candles, enveloped in the slight fragrance of incense, your image reflected in the mirror. In this particular atmosphere, just before you begin to read, picture the hand of a cosmic master above you, bestowing on you a special blessing." Okay, our next question. I would like to request a clearer explanation with some simple examples that define specificity of picture when visualizing through meditation, cosmic request for a particular desire of divine nature. Okay, this is a good question, and we really need to be careful what we ask for. It's helpful to think of what you want to experience in the future you are visualizing. It doesn't need to be how you're going to manifest what it is you want to visualize. In the Council of Solace, we don't think, okay, somebody has a broken toe, so we're going to we're going to go through the process to heal a broken toe. We just attune with the purest frequency of radiant health. So we think of what we want to experience in the future, and then the cosmic will take care of it. So we attune with the most harmonious vibrations we're capable of attuning with. This is what Rosicrucians call the field of actuality. The world around us is called reality in the Rosicrucian teachings, but there is the field of pure potential. And so when we reach that vibrational level, that's when we think about the experience we want to manifest, not the specific thing, but that's when we attune with radiant health, with experiencing love, with abundance. And abundance often really means the freedom to do what we want. Then we hold in our mind the thought of what we want that to feel like, what we want it to look like, what we want it to sound like, hear that in the future. So we've attuned with the field of actuality, and now we're planting a seed. And our thoughts at that vibrational level activate it into existence. And then we let the cosmic take it from there. And you may find that you have more than one thing that you want to visualize, but just do it one at a time. So don't have a big long list. Just choose one thing at a time. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, choose a second thing. And a few weeks later, choose a third thing that you want to manifest. And then you might find, oh, all that together is a more grand experience that I want to manifest. Okay, will healing with all people occur when using the Rosicrucian technique? If not, why not? So we all participate in our inner state, including our health. And perhaps someone is not contributing to their radiant health with what they're eating or drinking or smoking or in their relationships or what they're thinking. Sometimes valuable lessons come in the form of health challenges. So we can acknowledge and appreciate that and then get ourselves back into focusing on radiant health. The next question, aside from what is taught in the monographs, could we have more in-depth classes on healing ourselves and others? When the pandemic began, as I said earlier, our focus on the Wednesday teleconferences was on radiant health. And right now, we're going to share our screen, and I'm going to show you how to get to all of the videos that we have available. So if you go to rosicrucian.org, then in the upper right, it says member login. So you click on that. And then you enter your email address and your password, and it's going to take you to the member portal. And then you can see, like, typically we go here for our monographs. So up at the top, it says monographs. You go there and you access your monographs. Now, also at the top, it says Grandmaster's messages. So when you go there, then this takes you to all of the previous teleconferences that I have presented. Sometimes I present material that we're not going to post on YouTube, but all of my presentations are in the member portal. At the top, there is an index. So you click on index of topics and it will take you to a PDF document that shows you all the topics of we have over 100 videos there now. So you can just search for whatever subject you find interesting. And then under the index of topics, you have the videos by year. So right down on this first page is those are the videos from 2022. And then back up at the top, you can click on 2021 and you see those videos. So this is how you can access all of these videos that we created related to radiant health. Some of them are on youtube.com/Rosicrucian TV, but all of them are here in the member portal. And then of course, the 6 Temple degree monographs. So, okay, so this will be the last question. We have more, but this will be the last question, and we'll do another question and answer session next month. So this one says, page 189 of the Rosicrucian Manual by H. Spencer Lewis. He responds to common questions. And the question asked of our beloved and revered Master Lewis is, are all seekers worthy? And then H. Spencer Lewis presents some statistics that show out of 1,000 people who answer our public notices, some join, some go to the higher work. So the numbers get smaller. And so are all seekers worthy? Worthy is such a loaded word. How about if you don't study and apply the principles, you won't benefit from them? So there's no judgment in that. It's if you do study and apply the principles, get ready for amazing experiences and transformation in your life. And the last time Lonnie Edwards and I spoke during a Department of Instruction teleconference, I asked him if he had advice for members who get down on themselves because they get behind in their monographs. And Frater Lonnie said, focus on what you did accomplish. Okay, maybe you just got too busy and things just took over and now you're way behind in your monographs. He said, just focus on the fact that you found the Rosicrucian Order and you applied for membership and you did start your membership. So just see it as there was a pause and now you have the opportunity to continue it. So we will end with that. Again, we have a number of questions still to go, but I'll address those. We'll do those in May. So thank you all so much for being here.